What is up, YouTube? We have got so much to talk about today regarding Season 14, some nerfs, buffs, cross progression, literally everything that you can think of in Season 14. Also, some patch notes issues where people are attacking the voice actors. I don't understand why people cannot wrap this around their minds that it's not their fault. Some pros getting into some very heated discussions and also some crazy hacking situations going on. And NoApexAugust flopping on its face. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video. Make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new as always, and leave a comment down below. The finalist from last video who had the best roast that made me laugh was Crazy, and I'll be filling up my bathtub with Glytch energy tomorrow morning and letting my wife drown me, and you'll see it in tomorrow's video. All because you guys hit 100 subscribers 2 videos ago, so thank you very much indeed for doing that. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video. First things first that I want to mention here, all things Season 14. Let's jump right into it. First thing, no real update on cross progression, says Apex Legends News Alpha Intel, that Respawn is actively working on it, but said it's very technically challenging problem. I want cross progression. I want to be able to grind out my challenges on my Switch. We want to get it sooner than later, says the design director. So if you're feeling a little bit worried and discouraged about the future of cross progression, you may also need to know about this. I talked about a couple of videos ago. That was the analytics and data science for Respawn and EA. Someone asked him about the future of cross progression, saying, hey, I basically want to go over to PC, got all my PlayStation stuff I'm ready to put over. What are we going to get the cross progression update? And he said, dude, just forget about it. I recommend you starting brand new because I don't think we're going to have it set up the way you want. Like I said, Respawn has confirmed that it supposedly is coming 2022. So just wait until they release this news, man. If it's a letdown, people are going to be ticked off. I know many of you don't care, but I know a lot of you do because a lot of you are on console and you're dying to get over to PC. You're just waiting for this update. Also, regarding the Season 14 news, we thought 2 seasons ago we'd be getting this weapon called the Nemesis Burst of the R. Unfortunately, we did not get it, so we thought maybe this season we'll get it, and unfortunately, once again, it does not look like we're going to be getting this new season weapon, and that is because Respawn said there's no new weapon coming in Season 14, and the reason is because they only want to introduce new guns to the game when it, quote, needs them. They also said our goal is to make the game the best it can possibly be, and if that means that the game needs another weapon, then we'll add another weapon for it, but it doesn't need to be a seasonal cadence, and we just need to slow things down, basically, is what they said. And once again, yesterday, this all coming out after the big patch note stuff that was talked about yesterday's video, and after the gameplay trailer came out. Respawn updated their EA website regarding a lot of the changes that are coming. However, these were not an official patch notes release. I'm not really sure if they're actually going to show us anytime soon because we've not really heard anything regarding that, but we did get a lot of information yesterday. However, one of the things that we did learn yesterday in these little miniature patch notes that I guess you could call them was that they were getting rid of the self-res and the gold backpack Guardian Angel. Now, a lot of people are not only concerned for the fact that it's been removed. Personally, I'm kind of glad that they've been changed. I do worry about the fact that they were only really changed because the pro outrage. I just want to be careful about that. I don't want them to immediately accept what the pros say. I want to make sure it always makes sense, and I do think this makes sense. I think this was a good change, honestly, but there is something that we need to talk about. That is the fact that this kind of is an indirect nerf to Mirage, Lifeline, and a couple other legends, but especially Mirage because he's kind of been down in the dumps lately. And does he need a little bit of a buff now that this change has been made? I think you could definitely argue that fact down in the comment section below. One thing you can definitely not argue the fact of is the fact that the voice actor should not simply get attacked for these patch notes. No matter what the changes are, if you're mad that your favorite legend got nerfed or that your favorite legend didn't get a buff, you should never attack the voice actors that play those legends or that are behind those legends. They have literally nothing to do with that. We talked about it over a year ago when Horizon's voice actor was actually attacked because of these nerfs and buffs that came, and people were just flooding her DMs, flooding her comment section, saying they were not happy with it when she literally has nothing to do with it. Candy Roo also reminded us here under Josh Medina's post, and Josh's post said this about the gold res and the gold backpack. He says this change has been in the works forever, which actually makes me wonder if this was actually in the works before the pros started complaining about it. But he says they're just trying to get it right for the rest of the gold perk rebalancing. If there is anyone to blame, it's definitely, quote, insert name here. For example, I blame Ghost and a couple other Apex Legends devs that he adds right here. Now, Candy Roo responded to this saying, honestly, I love the change. It sounds great. That being said, I'll be sure to complain to the voice actors instead for their terrible decision in removing self-res. I hate you, and how could you, Johnny Young, which is the voice actor for Crypto. Now, as obviously of a joke this is, it happens every single season. For whatever reason, people target and want to go after all of the Apex Legends voice actors when these new patch notes come out. And for whatever reason, they think they have anything to do with it, but they just simply do not. So if you get mad at anybody, make sure to get mad at the devs or, you know, a YouTuber, because, you know, they obviously have stuff to do with it as well, apparently. But in all seriousness, if you got a problem, talk to a dev, talk to a pro player who maybe had their voice in that matter as well. Do not go after the voice actors. They do not have anything to do with it. Now, before we talk about the situation with the pro players and then also the infamous hacker going at it with the hideouts banhammer of Apex Legends and many other things, it's probably going to end up being a long video, and I do apologize for it, but we have the first day, the first results coming out of NoApexAugust. Looks like it had a very rocky start. It actually went really badly because we had the same amount of players over on Apex Legends on the Steam charts as we did on July 25th. And Garrett Leaks made us aware of this by saying hashtag NoApexAugust is off to a huge start. On the very first day, there are minus 400 players out of the 300,000 compared to the last time last week. Absolutely massive moves. He also said this is the only first day. Imagine how many people are going to be playing when the new season drops. Basically zero. Obviously, all of that is satire. I really think they should have made this movement a month ago. It's just very not practical when you have the idea of the new season 14 launching in the same exact month. And then also, you know, it's kind of over now. People are not very frustrated as they once were. They still are frustrated. They have a great reason to be. There's a lot of issues with the game. I'm not trying to undermine those. I'm just saying you got to strike while the iron is hot, and it's just kind of cooled down for the last couple of weeks. They should have really done this a while back. Now let's talk about the infamous hacker Autism Gaming 420, who's been leaking all of these seasons in the playtest past couple of times. As a matter of fact, it looks like they didn't even do a playtest this go round. In fact, they just did like a media press kit where they just told people what was going on, and the reason for that, I'm assuming, is just for the simple fact that this guy constantly is able to crack the code and get into these early access lobbies and just show and spoil everything ahead of time. Well, he was actually taunting hideouts first over on Discord. Hideouts decided to make a big tweet about it saying dude was cheating on TikTok live streams. He really just messaged me this now after I banned him multiple times. Well, I don't really know if he knew this or not, but this was the infamous hacker that he had been banning, AG420, and he responded to the tweet saying try banning me next time I stream. And I thought this was a little funny because although hideouts may have think he won here, he really did not. And the reason for that is because it's very obvious that AG420, although he's getting banned, is just constantly coming back and plaguing the lobbies over and over and over. We've also seen him pulling streamers out of their game and hacking them into the firing range, which is unbelievably crazy. Now, hideouts did proceed to block AG420 over on Twitter, which I'm surprised was not already done. And he also said here, quite unfortunate. Regardless, though, AG420 will continue to hack, will be the infamous hacker, and the legacy will go on. All of this happening, obviously, right after the new anti-cheat or anti-tampering software that Apex just went live with over on Steam and Origin, thinking that it was going to fix things. Unfortunately, there was already a workaround before it even launched and went live into Apex. And it seems the only result that it really brought was a lot of crashing to Windows players who are not on Windows 10. For whatever reason, a lot of crashing going over on Windows 7, 8, and 11 with this new anti-tampering software. Now, let's talk about Season 14 and why I believe it may be a sleeper season, one that people look over because they think it's just the filler, but in reality, it's probably going to be a lot of fun. I really just was not excited whatsoever. When I saw the launch trailer, I was like, dude, this season's going to suck. This is not going to be good at all. Then I saw the gameplay trailer and I said, you know, maybe it's actually going to be pretty good. It looks a little bit decent. And then I saw this tweet from Gaming Merchant, got me even more hyped up. Honestly, this is what he said: 5 reasons why Apex Season 14 will be so fun. This is what he said. Vantage has really cool movement ability, so I think it's actually going to be a good thing to have a fun legend. Hopefully she will be that fun legend, but I've been saying we cannot keep adding these recon legends. We need to add someone who's fun. Valk was a recon legend, or she is a recon legend, and she is fun, so I'm not saying that recon legends can't be fun. Hopefully Vantage's movement is actually fun. Hopefully it feels fun. Weapon meta also, he said, will feel very fresh as it's been pretty new. Massive Kings Canyon changes and huge loot rework too. You can literally grind levels for your first heirloom for free now. If you guys didn't know that, you can get an heirloom for free as the level cap is now 2,000. I believe you'll get like hundreds of Apex packs here, which is a guaranteed heirloom, luckily. And they also said a new LTM in the mid-season. Now, I'm not really sure what that LTM may be, other than the fact that it could be the War Games one. I think Killing Time. Hopefully it's not that one. Hopefully it's actually something a little bit bigger. We also know that apparently we're supposed to be getting these new modes, the free deathmatch modes, the gun game mode. All those leaked files say in Season 14, it would be a huge detriment to the whole system if we didn't actually get those game modes. I think so many people were looking forward to those. The game files pointed in that direction. If things got changed, people are definitely not going to be very happy. Now, a lot of people are also talking about control mode. What happened to that? Because we thought it was going to be permanent, right? It doesn't look like it's actually going to be taking that direction, unfortunately, and I'm not really sure or convinced that it's just the fact that that's always been their plan. I'm wondering if the stats came back and they were not actually good enough to keep it as a permanent mode. Now, here's where I'm getting this from. This was coming from .esports, written by a friend of mine that I follow on Twitter named Pedro. And Pedro titled this article saying Apex Legends design director confirms that control will not be a permanent mode for now, and that, quote, the BR is what Apex is. He also said this in the article. Apex Legends control limited time mode will not be permanent in season 14, design director Evan says, and confirms in a press conference last week the team's focus is on battle royale gameplay, according to him, and keeping LTM's limited aims to maintain their appeal and novelty. Now, I'm not convinced that you bring the same game mode back twice in one season and then again in the next season, and then also to mention they were brought back simultaneously. 1, 2, 3. There were no other game modes in between these. So I just can't say that I'm convinced that their intention was to never make it permanent. However, I'm wondering if maybe after all of these times they looked at the stats and said, you know, this really isn't healthy for the game. Maybe we shouldn't make it permanent. This is going to be a very risky decision if we decide to make it permanent and then things go south and we can't really recover from that. Maybe we should just hold off. That's the approach that I'm thinking they said, but this is actually what the article said. The design director Evan said the BR is what Apex is and the LTMs are just a little spice that we add in here and there to change things up. The team wants to retain the novelty of the LTMs and keep players on their toes waiting for the next innovation. One thing to note though that Pedro mentioned in the article is that control mode being permanent wouldn't mark the first time that Respawn Entertainment has brought a fully fleshed mode into the mix. The developers added arenas in season 9, obviously the competitive mode in season 10, but he also said this: control mode is far more drastic than any other limited time modes. However, it just seems that the team is seeming intent on keeping it as a short-lived novelty and a welcome surprise, at least for the time being. I just feel like it's way too obvious that they put so much time into control mode. There's no way it's just meant to be a short-lived LTM. I think they just got stuff they need to work out before they make it permanent. Like he said, it's just simply not permanent as of now. Also, just lastly, a little bit of beef to send you out on your way. His Watson says Furia will be landing thermal station for all future tournaments. Designful says I'll see you at Lightning as well. His Watson responded, says can't wait to have the honor of making you the biggest loser in Apex and retire for a second time, but that'll happen without me anyways because your org has been scrambling to drop your team for over a month. Designful says it's a game, bro. Why are you so mad? And his Watson says no problem picking on the little guys, but when someone with the clout calls you out, you play the victim. Common Designful else. So honestly, let's just cancel ALGS. Let's just put on a boxing event and just put the streamers and pro players against each other, and that's how the org should define their players. That would be a great idea, and even though I mean that's not really practical, but leave a like on the video if you guys did enjoy. Subscribe to the channel if you're new as always. I know it's been a long one. And also that gameplay you were seeing earlier was on that setup that I showed you guys yesterday right here, but I am back home recording on my normal mic, so that's why it sounds probably a little bit normal than usual. However, I've kept you long enough. Take care of yourselves, and until the next time, it's Viber Die, only positivity, and I'll see you later, Gators. Peace.